Thank you very much indeed. And Tom, thank you very much indeed also for sharing those lessons identified and that you've learned through the work you're currently performing down on the South Coast. So I'm going to spend a few minutes now talking about the UK Future Flight Challenge and the development of drone use cases for the NHS through that challenge itself. If I could have the first slide, please. So new technologies, including electrification, digital services and autonomy, can revolutionise aviation, and they can help to power a new generation of drones which deliver goods and services and also small electric aircraft. Now, the Future Challenge programme is a £125 million government investment in the Industry Strategy Challenge Fund. It's to be matched by a £175 million investment from industry. And the aim of the Future Flight Challenge is to demonstrate innovative ways to achieve greener flight, new services and ways to travel, increase mobility, better connectivity, and reduce congestion. Now, this is the intent being that we actually look at this as in a system of systems approach. So rather than historically in aviation just looking at the aircraft itself, it's looking at the aircraft and also the supporting ecosystem for aviation itself. So it's everything on the future of air transport. So that includes new models of airspace management and the regulations to do with that, novel air vehicle demonstrations, and the intent being over the programme, which will last for the next 4 years now, to actually have demonstrations of both from drones that we've been talking about today, but also looking at all electric aircraft, hybrid vertical takeoff and landing, and also all electric and hybrid conventional takeoff and landing aircraft. It's also to look at the infrastructure systems, that's both physical and the digital systems. So that infrastructure to support aviation and future aviation, and particular drone services, and also electrified air vehicles. So what that would look like and to demonstrate that. And finally, looking at the new operating models for users and the commercial operators of air services. So as Tom mentioned, it's not just flying drones and an electric aircraft and future aircraft for the sake of flying, although that is a good thing in my view. It's actually doing something which is geared to specific use cases which are identified through the programme itself. And so that's important, is there's an underlying business case to all the activities that we're performing and will be performing in the coming years. Next slide, please. So the intent being that we'll have and drive economic impact and also societal benefits for the UK. Indeed, the NHS and emergency services use cases and those that have been spoken about today are perfect examples of the societal benefits that future aviation and drones can bring to the UK. So again, as I mentioned, it's looking at air traffic management system, the ground infrastructure, and how that can increase the economic impact that in the UK, and also that can be exported. Looking at higher national productivity, so part of a number of other challenges, so they are linked to other challenges which are detailed there, and also enabling airborne services to society and transforming individuals' mobility. So it's everything from the fire and security emergency response, the medical emergency, through to surveying, agriculture and personal air mobility. So the programme is looking at everything in its entirety as much as we can within the 4 years, and the intent being to fly, to demonstrate, to have real-time simulations as well, digital twins of a new aviation ecosystem to prove that, and so they can be taken forward by the companies and academia and users involved in this programme into real-time situations and into business itself. Next slide, please. So within the Future Flight Challenge, there's been a number of challenges, a number of programs. Unfortunately, we're under a slight embargo at the moment, so we can't talk about specific projects in any great detail. But a number of the challenge projects and the COVID-19 particular challenge projects have recently been announced. But as I said, more will be announced shortly. But a variety of these are addressing the challenges, the use of drones for the NHS, including using drones to deliver PPE and COVID-19 testing kits to vulnerable rural communities in Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly, the use of drones to deliver medical supplies to patients and collect their medical samples, and one programme to be announced will be looking at demonstrating the viability of a drones-based medical logistics network in Scotland. So within all of the consortia involved in the programme, not just looking at the NHS use case, but also use cases across other sectors, the consortia will be looking to engage with stakeholders. Now, for the NHS case and for the medical services case, we'll be looking to engage with NHS stakeholders so we can identify, develop, and more importantly, demonstrate these use cases. So those that you've seen today, but also others that we'll be developing, so we can support specific use cases that you will help us to identify. And each will be supported by a viable business case. So the intent with this program is that the consortia, the companies involved, and also the universities that are supporting on the research side will be working with potential users and people that can take advantage of these services in the future. So that's been the intent, and my understanding is there'll be announcements in the next couple of weeks of what the other programs will be, so there'll be more detail available. Next slide, please. So that's my contact details again. So again, I'm more than happy to take any questions today or at any time about future flight, again, the drones program, or the use of drones in NHS services. Thank you very much indeed, Jamesy.